Welcome everybody. Hello. My name is Ann Larson. I'm the president of the San Mateo-Foster City PTA Council, and I'd like to welcome you all today and thank you for coming and being a part of this process and educating yourself before our vote on November 7th. The San Mateo-Foster City PTA Council is proud to host this event, the School Board Candidate Forum, in conjunction with the local League of Women's Voters. And with that, I'd like to introduce Mark Gator, who we are fortunate to have as our moderator tonight.
Thank you. First of all, don't forget to turn off or silence your cell phones. No campaign literature or other materials permitted in here, including apparel. As said, I'm Marty Gator, member of the League of Women Voters of North and Central San Mateo County. I'd like to thank the San Mateo and Foster City PTA Council for sponsoring the forum tonight. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization of both men and women whose purpose is to promote active and informed participation in government. We appreciate the interest and efforts of groups such as the San Mateo Foster City PTA in presenting events that increase voters' knowledge about the candidates and issues. The purpose of the candidate forum is to provide an opportunity for all the candidates to be heard at one time, to be questioned by you, the audience. We hope that by bringing candidates and voters together face to face, voters will be better informed and will make a wise decision on election day. We appreciate your interest in coming out to learn more about the candidates. Tonight you will hear from the candidates for the San Mateo Foster City School Board. There are 7 candidates for 3 seats. The term of office is 4 years. In the interest of time and fairness to the candidates, please hold your applause until the end of the forum, and we'll thank the candidates who are blessed at that time. This event provides a nonpartisan setting to let voters hear all the candidates at once and help the voters choose. It is not for supporters or opponents of any particular candidate in the audience to demonstrate their own personal preferences. So keep any expressions of disdain or delight to yourselves. Is that better? The candidates in alphabetical order.
It was on, but could you speak more into the center of it? And we're trying to turn it up.
Okay.
There you go.
How's that? Better. All right. The candidates in alphabetical order are Noelia Corzo, Alexander Heaslip. Is that correct? The last name?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Rebecca Hitchcock, Shiraz Zach Hanga, Thomas Morgan, Jacob Theo, and Sharon Watkins. The rules for the forum are as follows. We sent these out to the candidates and we all agreed to them. Opening statements will be 3 minutes for each opening statement, and then we will have a question period. All the candidates will get equal time to speak, and they will have a minute to answer each question. And then we'll have 2 minutes for closing statements. Our timekeeper is Don Jacoberger. He's in the front here, and he will hold up warning signs so when the candidate has 1 minute left and then 30 seconds left of the allotted time. At the end of the time, the timekeeper will hold up the stop sign until the candidate stops speaking. You may finish your sentence, but please don't run on for a whole paragraph. We have an usher. Mary's over there, and she has cards and pencils for questions. This is the only way to submit questions to me. And then I will sort through the questions and try to cover a variety of different topics. And we'll go from there. Please try to write legibly and a little bit large to make it easier for me to read. Is it not hot? Just raise your hand and flag Mary down if you need some cards or if you have a question ready. They'll all come to me and I will sort them by subject and we'll try to cover a variety of topics. And I might rephrase, you might not hear the question exactly as you wrote it. I might rephrase or combine some questions or divide it if there's too much in one question. So we'll try to cover a whole lot of different things tonight in the time that we have. So it is time for our opening statements. that, candidates have drawn lots to determine the order in which they will speak. Sandra, for you, you're number 5. Each candidate has 3 minutes for opening statement, and our first candidate is Rebecca Hitchcock.
Hello. Thank you all for coming tonight, and to the PTA Council for the organization of this event, and to the League of Women Voters for your contribution for this forum. Now a little bit about me. I am a San Mateo-Foster City School District alumna. I went to Highlands, Burrell, Aragon, and graduated from San Francisco State University. I've been working in the recreation and education industries for 24 years, ever since I got my work permit at 14 and a half. And so working with children has literally been my whole career life. I've worked in after-school programs for kids in elementary, middle, and high school, and taught in early education in various counties throughout California. I've had the opportunity to work with a variety of children and families from all walks of life and socioeconomic backgrounds. My reason for running is simple. I care about the future of our children and the education system. Things need to change so that they can receive the quality education they deserve, and the foundation for that is our teachers. The teachers have been consistently undervalued, as evidenced by the lack of a contract agreement and salaries that do not support the cost of living in this area. Now, it's not all about the money, but it's a key ingredient. And teachers are also not given the support or right tools they need to be successful in teaching for every child. Another area of improvement are the test scores. While they can be useful information, it shouldn't be the end-all in determining a student's, teacher's, school, or district success. I am aware of the achievement gap and believe we can find ways to close it. One being looking at what is working for high-performing schools and adopting those strategies in underperforming schools. The education environment is changing and evolving, whether we like it or not. And we need to adapt and change with it. School is not just for reading, writing, and arithmetic anymore. Parents and guardians are working all the time, so more responsibility is being placed on the school system. We need to teach to the whole child. It's not a singular teaching system anymore. Not only do we need to teach academics, but physical development and socio-emotional intelligence as well. All children deserve a quality education, which not only benefits them, but all of us as a community and as a society. The time has come for us to value education and to work together as a cohesive and collaborative unit with local agencies, school districts, city councils, community members, county office of education, and the time is now. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next opening statement is Thomas Morgan.
Hi, I'm Thomas Morgan. I want to thank the League of Women Voters and the PTA Council for hosting tonight's event. I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of wonderful people and groups in our community, and the comments I've been hearing most often are we need a financial oversight, accountability, and transparency for how our funds are being spent. Most people want more of the tax dollars that we're paying currently to go and be spent on our students, and we need to pay our teachers a fair wage. Being a parent of 2 young daughters, a certified public accountant, and a longtime resident who is actively involved in the community, I feel that I can best bridge the gaps in understanding and build consensus to help our district move forward. We have many important decisions and implementations coming up over the next few years. First, we have to elect 3 new board members. Next year, we get to elect superintendents at the state and county level. In Governor Brown's budget message, he indicated that he wants to look for changes in the special education program. And we also have to implement new science standards. Last Friday, I was able to attend the STEM Education Summit. The things that stood out to me the most were employers are in dire need of candidates with the right skills to fill their positions, and they're committed to working with the schools. Then there was a spokesperson for PG&E who shared the story of their CEO, Geisha Williams, who came to this country without being able to speak any English, and now she's the top person at one of the largest companies in the world. And perhaps the most impactful was a father paid the $90 fee to attend to ask the panel how he can make his schools in Oakland better. This event and other events that I have attended and the interactions with the community have made me very optimistic about the future for our district. I just feel that the important thing we have to get past is the financial challenge, and I feel that Thomas Morgan is the candidate for the job. We need to educate all of our students for the jobs of tomorrow, so as they pursue their passions, they will already have the only social safety net they should ever want or need, which is a great public education. I hope that after tonight's event, I earn your vote and I can be one of your new school board members. Please visit my website, votethomasmorgan.com, for more information. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And our next candidate opening statement is Jacob Thiel.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for our host for tonight's event and for you all showing up to give us the opportunity to share more about ourselves. I think making one decision is tough, especially with limited information, so I appreciate you coming out here to learn more and make an informed decision. I'll go through and explain why I'm running, why I'm qualified, what I'll focus on, and how I'll govern if I get elected. So my motivation or my why, I have two children, 3 and 1, the oldest entering the school district through the preschool program, and like all parents, I want the best for my kids, right? And I want to see them do better than I do and have more opportunities than I have. That's number one. Number two is I get passionate about solving problems. That leads into my day job as a consultant. I get personal satisfaction of seeing issues, finding solutions, and seeing that through. And especially as I help people in a broad community as our school district manages, I bring a lot of personal satisfaction to me. I was impressed when I did the tours through preschools of the magnet school programs, right, all the different options we have. It's something that definitely did not exist when I was in school, and I'm very grateful that I live in this area and have access to that. Children can run through those. I decided to learn more about our district after visiting those and attended the board meeting on the special session for the budget, and that's when my interest got peaked. I realized the district has some challenges and a lot of opportunity for improvement, and I think my job as a consultant is all about strategy and solving problems, right? And bringing that passion to the school district is something that I can benefit and learn from those experiences. I found out the board seats were open and said, okay, hey, why don't I throw my hat in the ring? I talked to my wife, I talked to neighbors. I said, yeah, I think you'd be great for the position. And so here I am. Why I think I'm qualified? I think I bring a unique perspective, a different angle. I think the board needs to have diverse thoughts and views and be able to bring in what we're seeing in the community, what we're seeing in the business world, what we're seeing in the education world, and through the district and the different board members. I can bring certainly that perspective. As I mentioned, my job is all about solving problems and change, and I think bringing that ideas from the business world to this environment is something we can all benefit from. I'll focus on the budget, motivating our students to learn, and helping our parents out. It's very challenging to move in this area, and we need to support our parents. I'll govern by asking tough questions and not assuming just because we've done something the same way all the time that we're going to continue that the same way in the future. We need to think creatively and differently about how we approach and challenge our problems. I'll expect the district to present recommendations as well as options and pros and cons for those options and recommendations, and help make an informed decision and have it transparent to the community and have it presented in a way that the community can understand. If I can't understand it as a board member, I don't expect you all sitting out there to be able to understand how I will hold the district to that standard. So to recap, I think I bring a unique perspective to the board and appreciate your vote and support. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next opening statement is Shiraz Zach.
Hi, thank you all for coming over here. I am a past president. I have, past parent of kids in our school district. I have raised 3 boys going through our Brewer Island, Bowditch, and Hillsdale High School. They are all successful. And so I have experience in our school district. I have been very active at that time, working in the PTA, in the site councils, and in art, you name it. And I was, in Art in Action and Reflections program. So that is one aspect of the schools. I have been active in the community. I'm a Rotarian. For me, it is about service above self. And so when I grew up in India and I have a background in science, biochemistry, and zoology. And as soon as I graduated, I started a school for children who were in rural areas who couldn't attend, get that level of education. So I'm very committed to that. I worked, volunteered at Mother Teresa's orphanage. I also volunteered at a school for blind kids. Over here, why I want to run, my kids are not in school anymore, but I'm here for the students, for our community, for our future. President Obama, in September went to visit a school in Washington, D.C., and he said over there that I try to meet students everywhere I go because they are the ones who are going to solve the problems that we are facing today. And I truly believe that we really have to invest in this generation. And it's not just about, it is academic, yes, but it's about the all-round development of a child. And that is very important. So we are, raising children for the world, for the future, who are committed not just in academic, but also in the emotional development of a child. That is very important to me. As my children have grown up, I have seen that the emotional, the social development of a child is also very important. So I hope that if I'm elected, I bring a unique perspective to the board. I'm very practical, and I feel that it's one thing to be altruistic and you mean well, but you also have to have a very practical approach. You have to be have some business ideas, some financial background when you're managing a budget over here of a school district of 120 million, and it's the future of about 12,000 children that you're working with. So I hope to use my skills to work, and the main thing, my platform is about communication and collaboration, which is communication with the community, the teachers, the administration, and I hope that together, as a team, we all work together for our children, with the teachers and them. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next opening statement is Alexander Hazel.
Hello, I'm Alexander Hasty. I'm running for school board because I know the value of public education. I studied at Princeton University and Columbia University, but I had all of my elementary school and my middle school and my public school in Virginia. And through the public education system there, I gained unique appreciation for the power of a public education. It gives you a great appreciation of the place that you live in when you do that. When you take the time to study next to your peers, next to your neighbors. I want that for our children in our community. I want that for my son, who is a first grader this year in Foster City Elementary School. I want him to know and feel that when he walks down the street, the people that he sees, people driving in the car, walking, are not just his neighbors, not just his friends, not just his community, but also the people who voted for his father, that supported his family as they worked through the budget stuff that we're going through, and as we solve the problems that we're going through. Because when we come together as a community, I think that there's nothing that we can achieve. And I want my son to feel that too. And I feel very strongly that we can do this through the power of public education. And I hope that with your help, that you will empower us to ensure that public schools can remain a good and powerful part of our community and ensure that strong public education is something that we can be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next opening statement is Noelia Corso.
Good evening, everyone. I'd also like to thank the host, the League of Women Voters, and the PTA Council for putting this event on, and I'd like to thank everyone for being here. Showing up sometimes is half the battle, and being present and engaging with each other is how community is created, and it's pivotal to the success of our community. So I'd like to talk a little bit about my history in this district. I am a graduate of this district as well. I was a preschooler at Turnbull Elementary School, which is in the north central neighborhood where I'm from and where I still live. And then I went on to Park School Elementary, Abbott Middle School. I went to San Mateo High School, Cañada College, San Francisco State University. So I truly value public education, and I'm a product of it. And I am also the mother of a first grader at Fiesta Gardens International School, and I'm part of the PTA there. And becoming a PTA mom and really taking a deep dive into our school district and into that experience as a new parent really was the foundation for why I chose to run for school board. I'm a doer. I am someone that when I see something that needs to be addressed or that needs some improvement, I like to step in and I like to be a part of the solution. And I pride myself on working with people for the common good and involving people and motivating people. And it's an example of the type of leadership that I've come to develop over time. I do my very best to be collaborative and to really make sure that everyone at the table feels valued and respected. And being that I am a native of this area, I have a lot of community ties, and I have amazing people that support me, support the community, and have a lot of wisdom to share. And that is something that is completely essential if we're to find a path forward and really see to fruition the vision of our district. And I'm also very dedicated to doing the hard work that is needed to find the solutions to the issues that our district is facing. And I've taken the time to sit down with teachers, sit down with parents from both cities, from all over our community, also folks that don't have children in our school system anymore, but that care about our district and want to see it be successful. And I've also sat down with district staff so that I can start to begin these really complex issues and be a part of the solution, and not just sit here and think that I can solve it all by myself, because it's a community effort. Thank you.
Thank you. And our final opening statement is Charlotte.
Good evening, everybody. I'll echo what everyone else has shared. Thank you so much for being here tonight. It definitely takes all of us together to ensure that we're providing excellent education for all of our students. I have dedicated my professional life to education and to students and families in my local communities. I grew up in Madison, Wisconsin. I went to Wellesley College outside of Boston, where I was a child psychology major, and then decided I knew I was going to be involved in working with children, but learned about Teach for America, which I joined, and that led me down a route of being an educator. I taught in New York City. I taught first grade, and I taught 6th and 8th grade English language arts. I was teaching in New York City when New York transitioned over to Common Core standards and developed curriculum and implemented that curriculum during that transition. At the same time, while I was teaching, I earned my master's degree in general and special education, and I worked in inclusive settings. So I worked with students with moderate and severe disabilities, and all the way to students that were performing well above grade level and were identified as gifted and talented. So ensuring that we're really providing access to high levels of understanding and learning for all of our students is something that is near and dear to me. I also served as an instructional coach and led a lot of professional development in that setting. My husband and I moved to California, moved to the Bay Area a little over 4 years ago, and I've remained involved in education and supporting school districts both in our local communities, so throughout the Bay Area, including some school districts in the San Mateo County area, and currently work in education technology, supporting implementation, so supporting at the district level and direct teacher support and training around best practices and all over the United States. I am running for school board because I have a real passion for supporting all students. I have a passion for supporting our educators, and I have a passion for being involved and invested in the communities where I've lived. I, throughout this experience, have learned a lot about some of the challenges that we have, as well as the great strengths that our school district can leverage in moving forward. We have a really excellent foundation and a community that's really involved. The three areas that I plan to focus on and that you'll hopefully learn more about as we progress through the night are teacher support, equity in our schools, and increasing communication and transparency. So I look forward to the rest of the evening and sharing a little bit more about those priorities for our schools. Thank you.
Thank you. And now it is time for the candidates to answer questions. I'm getting lots of questions. So I'm pretty sure we won't get to all of them, but again, I'll try to cover a lot of topics and combine where I can. The first question is about budgets. Based on your understanding of the school district's finances, what specific cost-saving opportunities have you identified? Based on your understanding of the school district's finances, what specific cost-saving opportunities have you identified? And we will start with Rebecca.
Thank you. I believe that is more of a collective answer, because I might think one thing, but the board that I will be working with will come and bring their ideas as to what needs to be focused on more so. I do believe that there are some things that need to be adjusted before we cut important classes that aid in the positive development of each child, like music and PE. Thank you.
Thank you. And next on this question is Thomas Morgan.
So I previously worked for the city of San Jose, so while we want to cut some expenditures, we also have to be aware that not all the expenditures can be cut. And we may cut some expense, but there may be a breakup fee or something, so those really need to be studied carefully. I've noticed we have this new tool called OpenGov rolled out by the district, and kind of the costs that are increasing the most are the pension contributions, and that's really what is taking a lot out of our classroom, because the state in 2013 passed a bill where we were kind of mandated to increase the pension payment, so it's increasing. It started 20 and is gradually working its way down, and I think next year it'll be around 13%, 11%, and 5%. So, and we've also used a lot of consultants, so I think we should look at those consulting costs, because those have just been spiking over the years, and we should, have public process. And
thank you. And next on this question is Noah Corzo.
I think that's a very, very good question. I think if you're a parent in the district and you know that our PTAs are already doing a lot of work to fund some of the amazing programs and extracurriculars that our students deserve. And so when thinking about making more cuts, I would say that what's actually on the chopping block right now are, some of our middle school counselors, some of our PE teachers, and I just wouldn't feel good cutting those things. It's a very difficult decision to have to make, but I think that if we come together as a community and we agree on a universal tax that will help us keep our students, really engaged with the education that they deserve. That's more of the solution and the path forward that I would like to be a part of.
Thank you. And next on this question is Jacob Thiel.
Thank you. I think there's nothing obvious that jumps out to me as a big budget cut. Part of the challenge is it's difficult to understand the budget, and we need to improve how it's communicated. That's something we definitely need to focus on. I do think we should look to use the district size to its advantage rather than as a disadvantage. We have 20-some schools. and we should look for efficiencies in how we cut across those and bring things together and centralize rather than having each school figure things out on their own. There's definitely opportunities where that can happen and where things can leverage across. And efficiencies will come through and then hopefully identify budget cuts where appropriate.
Thank you. And next on this question is Shiraz Zek.
I will say that, I listened to all of them. I do agree with some aspects of what everybody has said. When talking to not just the administrators and the school board trustees, I've spent a lot of time on this because funding and finance, and that is one of the biggest issues facing our school district, and that's one of the things that I've spent a lot of time looking into. And if you look across the board, Redwood City, San Carlos, even going to Sunnyvale, all the school districts are suffering from the same issue, which is the CalSTRS and PERS program, which even the city councils are suffering from that same problem because of the mandated increase. So I'm talking to people, and I think that is something that we need to look at, not just at a local level, because it's mandated from the state, but I think forming a coalition, and there is already talk about a political action committee about that, to go up to Sacramento and really look at, because that's the big elephant over there, is in the future, it's going to be 30% of our budget that is going to go to CalSTRS and PERS. If you look at Open Gov,
Thank you. And next on this question is Alexander Haslip.
There's a great line from Shakespeare about, I think it's Henry V. He says, first thing let's do is let's kill all the lawyers. I think the first thing that we should do is cut all the people who come to a meeting in a business suit. Now, I'm in an uncomfortable position to say that, but I think that that's the first thing that we should do in the budget thing is let go of all the people who are trying to tell us what to do. I think we've got too many cooks in the kitchen and it's spoiling the soup.
Thank you. And finally on this question is Shara.
So I think this is currently a challenge that the district is facing, and there have been some adjustments and some cuts that have made that haven't been felt by students and haven't been felt by the community. I think when we look at the budget, those are the types of cuts that, if needed, are the cuts or reorganizations that need to happen. I know what shouldn't be cut are programs that directly affect students, our salaries and benefits that support our educators that inevitably affect our students. And so I think that while we at times might need to make cuts, looking at things, again, as I mentioned, that are not directly affecting or directly influencing students, and I think also really thinking creatively about the ways that we can continue to leverage and bring in additional funds, leveraging parcel tax, our Ed Foundation, businesses that are in our community, and leveraging those as resources to continue to increase funding for our schools and our kids.
Thank you. Our next question is, and I'll probably ask a couple on this topic throughout the evening because it seems to be a hot topic. It's about the contract. The district and teachers have been locked in negotiations. How would you open up discussions? Where do you stand on the teacher contract as you understand it? The district and teachers are locked in negotiations. How would you open up discussions? Where do you stand on the teacher contract as you understand it? And first on this question is Shiraz.
So I think I am for, this has been going on for a year now. The teachers have been without a contract. So I think we really need to move forward with this. I do understand. I've listened to both sides of the argument on this case. I think the teachers propose that we can tie it to the next parcel tax. But I really think that, negotiation is win-win. If you come to a point where, it's just stuck. I mean, the last time the president of SMETA said that it's the same numbers going around and around. We're not moving forward. We need to move forward. And if that moving forward means that we give in a bit as a school board to bring teachers on board and move ahead, we need to do that because it's draining everyone. And I think that affects then, the teachers' frame of mind, their family. I have already got emails from husbands of teachers about this. What are you going to do? Teachers are really stressed. And so I do support the teachers on this respect that we really need to, one of the first things is look at this negotiation of the contract with the teachers and come to a mutual agreement on that.
Thank you. And next on this question is Alexander Haslip.
I don't know how you could ever do
do anything against teachers. I mean, how can, look, I got a 6-year-old now, and I can't stand to be with him at any length of time. So I totally understand what teachers have to go through. To have to do that for a room full of kids must be just maddening. So, yeah, any amount of money that they need ought to be enough. And whatever they need, I would cave immediately to their demands. I know that that's not a tenable platform, and I can't run on that, obviously. And obviously, there's nuances, and and I look forward to learning more about that. But my understanding of the subject is insufficiently nuanced.
Thank you. And next on this question is Rebecca Hitchcock.
I think it's ridiculous that the contract has not come to an agreement. I have a staff of 10 teachers currently, and the thought of, we don't run on contract, but the thought of if we did, that I wouldn't be able to come to an agreement with them pains me, because this is one of the most important jobs that you can do. And you already have to, as most of you have children, I'm sure, it's hard. And we're with them every day, all day. So to have that other weighing of us of, oh, are we going to come to a contract today? I don't know. No, let's get the focus on the children. So we need to work together and give these teachers what they deserve. Now, we probably can't do that because they deserve millions and millions, but we need to work together and get them something and be happy, because they need to focus on the children. Thank you.
Thank you. And next on this question is Shara Walker.
So, as a former educator, I firmly believe that teachers are our most valuable asset. I also think that our current school board members and the district also agrees with me on that, and I think that it's a nuanced challenge. I absolutely think that we need to do whatever we can to move contract negotiations around or along. Currently, the contracts are in mediation, and so school board members are not a part of those discussions at this time, so it does make it challenging. I think that there are creative solutions in terms of really being able to provide necessary support for educators. Parcel tax being attached to teacher salary or bonus is one idea. The challenge with that is that if it runs out, then what do you do with teacher salaries? You can't take those back. So I think that there are creative ways that we can think about really bringing in the necessary funds to support our educators. I think that it absolutely is what we should be most invested in, and it currently is what the district spends the bulk of its funding on. I think we need to continue to be creative around how to do that.
Thank you. And next on this question is Thomas Morgan.
I also value our teachers, and I think they should be paid a fair wage. But I think as a board, it's also, we have to be responsible and consider the budget, and also future teachers and future parents, because we really need to take a long-term focus and really develop a long-term plan. From my involvement in the city of San Jose, they kind of tried to get on, cities used to be like 1 to 2 year budgets, and then Sunnyvale kind of broke the mold and started a 20-year budget. So I would really like to think more long-term and better plan, so that, and there's this concept in governmental accounting of inter-period equity, and we have to make sure that the schools benefit everybody over the long term. We can find ways to cut useless expenses, and we also need to find ways to find more money. And I think finding more money at the state in the medium long term is a better bet than any other option. And reforming Prop 98.
Thank you. And next on this question is Jacob Fields.
Yeah, I opened the discussions with starting from common ground, right? Identifying what we can agree on, what are the priorities or core programs that we need, and then go from there to work through which programs do you feel are more open for negotiation, and then also have all options on the table, right? So it's looking at the tiering and the structuring of the salary increases over time, how that works, and have both sides be willing to to give and take on in every aspect, and not just stick with the old contract by changing a number, and not just stick with the old programs and expecting to get more money from someone. We should seek more money. We should try to get more money, and if we can make a good argument for that. But really starting from that common ground and starting on a positive note and moving.
Thank you. And finally on this question is Noelia Corzo.
I've taken the time to sit down with the leaders of our teacher union and also all of our school board members, and the answer to this question is not an easy one. I think that our current school board members deserve respect, and they have been doing a lot of work, and they've been in closed sessions for hours trying to work on this issue and work towards a place of mutual understanding and an agreement with our teachers. And there is definitely a lot of tension right now, and I think that in terms of a path forward, we need to make sure that we can settle this contract and then think about how we can begin to repair the relationships between our teachers and our district. And in terms of finances, like I said earlier, our district is not in a good place right now, and that puts our current board in a really difficult situation. And so I don't pretend to know all the answers, but I know that there is a path forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is about school equity. How do you plan on addressing the equity problem between our schools? Or what are your ideas on how we can bring more economic equity to our schools? How do you plan on addressing economic equity between our schools? And for this one, we will start with Charlotte.
This is a question I feel like I've been answering or trying to answer throughout my career as I worked in communities. I have worked in communities my whole career that have been historically underfunded and underserved. It's not an easy one, and our district is no stranger to inequity. I think that there are creative ways that we can think about leveraging the abundance of resources that we do have in our district to ensure that we're providing support. I think some of that is financial. I think some of that is people and time. So I think about leveraging, as I mentioned before, some of the companies and businesses that are based here to support some of our schools that are more challenged or that have fewer resources. We also have an abundance of people that are dedicated and organizations that are dedicated to all of our kids in all of our schools. So thinking about the ways that we can leverage those people, distribute those resources to schools again that have limited resources, limited time, limited financial resources. And so I think that there are a lot of ways that we can leverage what we do have here. I think that it's something that we need to focus on. So if it's not a priority for us to have equities in our schools, then it won't be something that we address. Thank you.
Thank you. And next on this question is Noelia Corzo.
Equity is very, very important. And I think that in order to really think about how we can address this, we have to make sure that our district and our schools and our communities really understands what this means. As it stands now, there are some schools in our district that have way over a normal percentage of low socioeconomic students, and that type of disparity affects our entire community. I think that we can continue to partner with the Ed Fund as we are. I think that we can continue to partner with community organizations that are working to support students that have the highest achievement gaps after school and through academic support. And I also think that we really need to take a look at the English language advisory committees at each of our schools and make sure that they are meaningful and that they are supporting the families and students like they should be, and that their representation at the district level is sufficient. Thank you.
Thank you. And next on this question is Thomas Morgan.
Yes, it's a concern that some of our students aren't doing as well as others, and that it depends on where you live as to what school you are. We should work really to make sure there are resources and plan our budgets equally. I also think maybe going more toward the period structure so that, everybody's kind of in the same math and English, and then there kind of be maybe a free period to really focus on the skill that each student would need wherever they need help, because it's really hard to create a program to, teach all the students with the same and if you specialize the teachers among the, English language arts will probably, have teachers like Ishat, and then math and science teachers teach those subjects. So that we really get specialized, because most other industries have become specialized, and I think that could help improve the testing and performance of our students.
Thank you. And next with this question is Shiraz.
So we have a very diverse student body in both Foster City and San Mateo, and that kind of, I think that having magnet schools and some of the specialized programs that we have, research has shown that really makes a big difference in bringing, different groups of kids together in a classroom, and I really support that, different specialized programs and magnet schools. The other issue is funding, of course, for some of these schools which do not have that level of, PTA fundraising going on. And I think for that, we really need to, we cannot monitor people's donations and as far as PTA donations, but what we can do is really create some more interesting programs in Ed Foundation where we automatically draw in everyone in San Mateo and Foster City to participate in some awesome programs in the Ed Foundation. So that will be a general fund going to everyone. And then what Shara said, I think I echo that we need to involve more nonprofits and after-school classes, maybe weekend classes to support some of the children. We need to get partnerships with businesses also to get more fundraising.
Thank you. And next on this question is Alexander Haislip.
The question was about equity. And, when you talk about equity in schools, that's a buzzword that a lot of the education people here know about. I don't know that equity has much currency as a term outside of the halls of these type of meetings. Equity in a general business sense means like being fair. What you do is fair if everybody gets the same thing. Or you can do it differently. If everybody gets the same opportunity to have the same type of thing. I don't know that we need to make many changes to get to where it'll be like that in our school district. I'd like to help us to get there. My hope is that with a slight little changes, just a little bit, we can go there.
Thank you. And next on this question is Rebecca Hitchcock.
I think there's multiple ways that you can do this. I only have a minute. So I think we need to market the importance of education consistently and constantly to the public and get the word out there of why education and supporting education now is so important. Thus, will make it easier to partner with local agencies and get additional resources. And we can then utilize that to spend more time outside of class if that's what it needs to provide that extra support for those children. Thank you.
And finally, on this question, Jacob Theo.
Yeah, I think more money may help, but it's not the only answer. We should certainly seek and find from alternative sources where we can. It really comes to the heart of two issues I want to focus on. And one is looking at how we teach our students and working with them in the program to make sure they're more motivated, right? Make them enjoy learning and want to come to school and not just want to come to school to recess. I think if we look at the program, that will help out. I think also supporting parents. It's hard to live here. It's hard to live here and not work long hours or have both parents working or have two jobs. I think the biggest difference comes in disparity is from the parental support. And it's not from the schools doing something drastically different or one school being that much better. A few programs here or there doesn't make that big of a difference that drive the test scores. It's what happens at home. So the more we can support our parents, the more we'll see the equity from also.
Thank you. Our next question is about your qualifications and skills. We teach our kids the importance of volunteering and contributing to our community. How have you volunteered and served our community? How have you volunteered and served our community? And for this, we start with Jake Taylor.
Can you turn on my? Yeah, I think it's an interesting question. The first one was qualifications. I don't want to, not to offend anyone here, but I don't think that the volunteering is necessarily the strongest qualification for this role. The volunteering experiences and what drive decisions or to guide the district, right? The qualifications that I bring are the work that I do every day, right? It's managing change, solving problems, working with people to gather requirements and implement new systems or implement new processes, look for efficiencies. It's my business experience, it's my qualification.
Thank you. And next on this question is Sharada.
So it's volunteering or?
How have you volunteered and served our community?
So I said that in my opening statement. My life is about volunteering. I mean, I find there's no greater joy in life than serving others, So I started in college, as I said, working and volunteering at Mother Teresa's orphanage. I have 2 sisters from there now, big girls, and I worked with blind kids, but locally also, I am a very active member in the Rotary Club of Foster City. You may have seen us at Holi. I'm there selling drinks over there, the most amazing drinks. And we raise money for our schools. The Rotary Club of Foster City supports all our schools over here. We also do a very interesting project, international. Right now we go to the Native American country where we take our old playgrounds from here. I am a liaison person. I work with the San Mateo High School students, and we repair them, and we give it to in Yurok, the Yurok tribe in Klamath Falls, and they didn't have. They are just so excited, and our high school students are so excited to have those playgrounds. So that's something that we do. We recycle that. Of course, Rotary supports polio. So thank you.
Thank you. And next on this question is Alexander Heaslip.
Well, I'm hoping to serve on the school board to bring my qualifications and experience into the service of the education system. Now, that's not much for what I've done. Now, admittedly, I've been out of commission for a while. I've had a serious medical thing to happen to me. I had a brain tumor a couple years ago, and I'm recovering from that fairly slowly. But I look forward to ramping up my participation in the community.
Thank you. And next with this question is Rebecca Hitchcock.
Thanks. I also don't think volunteering is the only thing to look at. I've been teaching for 15 years, and with that comes a lot of working together with parents of all sorts. And I worked with, again, I'll echo what I said earlier, working with a variety of people, all kinds of children of all ages. And being a teacher, if you are aware, it takes me a lot more time than just your 40 hours a week.
Thank you. And next with this question is Noelia Corzo.
I've been volunteering in this community since I was a child. Most recently, I'm an AYSO coach. I coach our children. I've done it this is my second year as a coach. I have also volunteered for Home and Hope, which is a mobile homeless shelter that goes to different congregations in our area. I also serve on a board for a Latino Democratic Club for our county, and I've volunteered as a mentor in a juvenile justice hall in San Francisco. I have also served as a mentor in a GED program with at-risk youth in San Francisco as well. So my volunteer record is very strong, and it's something that I will continue to do for the rest of my life.
Thank you. And next on this topic is Shara Walker.
So I think when we think about qualifications, I talked a little bit about my experience as an educator. So I've dedicated my life to students and families in my local communities. Since being in the Bay Area, I've been actively involved in a variety of leadership capacities. So I serve as president of my HOA board and have been actively involved in my local community through that, as well as a variety of other social initiatives in our local community. I also serve, I'm the president of the Wellesley board in our local area, and so I've been very involved in mentoring women and supporting women and being involved in the leadership capacity and in developing that community. And then I've also been involved in volunteering a bit in our local school. So George Hall is our local school, and I spent some time over the last year volunteering in the Art and Action program in that setting, and particularly working in the special day class as I was a former special educator.
Thank you. And finally on this topic is Thomas Morgan.
Yeah, so I think volunteering, well, I took the City Service Academy in the city of San Mateo. I'm currently doing the Civics Academy with the county, so learning all the operations with those two organizations. Direct volunteering, I've participated in past coastal cleanup days, and when I was back in my audit days, I would volunteer with tax aid to help the low-income and elderly families prepare their tax returns for free, so they wouldn't have to go to H&R Block and pay through the nose. And that's about it. Thanks.
Thank you. Our next question is straightforward. Do you support the immersion program for foreign languages? Do you support the immersion program for foreign languages? And on this one, we'll start with Noelia Corzo.
I absolutely support dual immersion programs in our district. I think that they are a tool to really prepare some of our students for the future. Knowing two languages is standard in some of the most successful countries in the world. And I think that it's a huge asset, not just to our community, but to our students. And my son is at a dual immersion school, and he's in first grade and just started reading in English and Spanish, and I'm very proud of him for that. And I think that there's a lot of parents that would like their children to be in a dual immersion school. Our schools right now that have dual immersion are College Park, that has the Mandarin program, Fiesta Gardens, and Bayside, and there's a small program at Abbott Middle School as well. And some of these schools have wait lists. There's more families than there are spaces for, and so I support this.
Thank you. And next on this question is Rebecca Hitchcock.
Thank you. I definitely support dual language schools. Knowing multiple languages is ideal, especially in Silicon Valley. And with that, and what Noelia said about waitlists on those such schools, I'd like to see more and have them incorporated in every school we could.
Thank you. And next on this is Charlotte.
I also support our language immersion programs, as well as the other magnet schools and programs that we have in our district. I think, I'll echo what both Rebecca and Noelia shared. I mean, there's a lot of research around the benefits of speaking multiple languages. I do think that I think it's important that all parents are aware of the programs. I think that sometimes our most active parents and parents that have the most time and resources are really well aware of the variety of programming that we offer in our district, and I would like to see us continue to ensure that we're reaching out to diverse communities and ensuring that all parents really have a grasp on the variety of programs. I think it's one of our biggest assets as a district to have such a wealth of programming and a variety of opportunities for students that really meet the needs of individual students and how they best learn it and goals that parents have for them. So let's make sure that that's available to everyone.
And next on this question is Thomas Morgan.
I would also support. We're living in a global economy, so if we fail to acknowledge that multiple languages are important, then it's only going to put our children at a disadvantage in the future. I guess the best way I could think to expand outreach is, I know there are several city and county events where they have something like a health fair or a Parks and Rec registration, so I don't recall seeing school district tables at those events, so if we could partner and work with and figure out a way to work with the cities and the county to participate in those events and get the word out to the people, because it's probably easier to get parents and families that are in the district, but then younger families aren't going to know because they don't have access and they don't get on email lists. So finding other ways to communicate to the public.
Thank you. And next on this topic is Jacob Thiel.
Yeah, this one's near and dear to my heart. When we did the tour of the different preschools, again, as I mentioned before, very impressed by the different magnet programs. We ended up choosing the Fiesta Gardens and that lovely to get picked in the lottery, and I was also disappointed that I had to choose between the STEM, Montessori, and it's all great stuff. Why can't they all be one and the same? And there are places that are doing it all one and the same. And so I would like to see those magnet type programs expand and become the default rather than the exception. Right? If people really think the traditional style is great, maybe we have a few schools that still do that, but we should really look to incorporate all the magnet programs and make it available across the district.
And next on this question is Shiraz Zenhega.
So I'll echo the same answer as everybody else and try and be very short with it. That yes, of course, it's amazing. It's very good that we offer these programs, and we see there the diversity of the magnet schools. Right, we bring that the socioeconomic diverse groups together where they're signing up. And as Shara pointed out, we have to just ensure that all parents get a chance to sign up for these programs, because that's the only thing.
Makes it advantageous to school districts to put workforce housing on school property. I think there's still more work to do there to make it so that we can collaborate with other districts, such as the high school district. I'm also hearing that there should probably be more outreach to see whether or not teachers actually want to live on campus. So then we need to do public outreach. And then today in the morning paper, I guess last Friday they signed a bill to kind of create an entity similar to the redevelopment agency, which assisted in a lot of the production of affordable housing, which we should probably collaborate with the cities and county if we can, and reach out to those entities and have better relationships. That's what I would look forward to doing. Thank you.
Thank you. And next on this question is Shara Wahid.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Do you have any ideas regarding the district getting directly involved in teacher housing solutions?
Thank you. So I think teacher housing is definitely a challenge that our district, not only our district, but our Bay Area community is facing, and something that should definitely be a top priority for our district as well as both of our city councils. So I would like to see us both really work with educators and get their input and perspectives around the types of programs and offerings that would be most helpful to them. I think that in order to be most efficient and most effective, it's really important to ensure that their voices are on the table as we're thinking about best solutions. I think that it is something that we also can think about collaborating with other stakeholders, so thinking about collaborating with city councils, both Foster City and San Mateo City Councils. This is a topic of discussion for them in terms of workforce housing. I also think that the school district is currently entertaining various options in terms of nonprofits and other organizations that offer creative solutions, such as supporting with down payments and things like that. So I think it should be definitely a topic of conversation and definitely something on which the school district is focused.
Thank you. And next on this question is Jacob Thiel.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Open to all ideas that will help differentiate our district and attract more talent. Right? Anything we can do to bring more teachers applying to our district and select them and help our kids directly. That's great. I think we should also explore other ideas and talk with the teachers about what they want. Right? I know if I was a teacher, I would say, well, how come it was a lottery, my neighbor got it and I didn't? Right? How is that really fair in my compensation structure? Do I really want to live in a teacher dorm? I don't know. But these are definitely things that should be thought through. What are the tax implications at a federal level? The state can only do so much, right? But there's a lot of different things to consider, and all again, with everything, all options should be on the table.
Thank you. And next is Alexander Huslett.
I mean, it's no secret that the Bay Area's got a housing problem, right? That should be forefront on everybody's docket. Yeah. I know for me personally, I can't afford a house around here, so I'm still renting. That should shock you, right? So both my wife and I work. and I've had a serious medical condition, so I've been, coming back up to speed at my job, and so we're renting still. So, I'm shocked at the prices of Bay Area housing. Yeah, right. So, how can we expect our teachers to hold down a job and afford housing? This doesn't make any sense to me. It's totally crazy.
Thank you. And next on this question is Rebecca Hitchcock.
Thank you. I do believe, I'm going to echo what everybody already else has said. Yes, we should entertain the idea of workforce housing. I do know that the district is already entertaining some ideas. I do believe that we need to collaborate and work with local agencies, city and the county and state for tax breaks and other, like maybe not necessarily build right on campus, but a little off-site, so you're not directly right there working and living with your children. Makes sense. Yeah, we all need to work together and find out what we can do for our teachers, whether it's salary increase, house breaks, providing actual housing, but something needs to be done. Yes.
Thank you. And next on this question is Noelia Forza.
I think that teachers need to be at the forefront of this conversation. They know their needs best, and in terms of what the district is already doing, I mean, they are already working on this and exploring options. I think that as a board member, I will continue to explore options and listen to our teachers about what they need. And right now, actually, our in San Mateo, at least, our council is looking at creating workforce housing on a parcel that is close to downtown, so right by the train station in downtown San Mateo. And there is an opportunity there to think about workforce housing and including teachers in that, if that is what teachers want. So I think that I bring relationships to the table with council members already, and definitely valuing the voices of our teachers and what they need.
Thank you. And finally on this question is Shiraz.
So, this is another topic that I have been spending a lot of time talking to city council members in Foster City and San Mateo. It is something I know that our school district also is looking into, and again, as Noelia pointed out too, it's something that we need to involve the teachers in this discussion. But San Mateo has a proposal for workforce housing. Foster City is looking at something. They also have a $2.2 million house, which is still not framed, but it's still in the works about how they're going to do it. But there are options. At the county level also, they have a HEART program, which kind of gives non-profits a $5 million loan towards building housing. So we have some options, and I think as a community, with the administration, the new board, and with the teachers, we should definitely look into it. It's good to have that option so we can get new talent in, for people who move into the area, like Alex said, they are just shocked by the area prices. How can we get young new teachers to come and work here to teach our kids?
Thank you. Our next question is it ever okay for the district to spend funds without utilizing competitive bidding? Is it ever okay for the district to spend funds through any means other than competitive bidding? And for this one, we'll start with Alexander Lisa.
The question is it ever okay for the district to spend funds without competitive bidding? There's probably some context to that question that I would need to know about. My guess is that the person who asked the question has a very specific case in mind, maybe. Is that possible? Okay. I guess by the murmurs in the crowd that the answer is yes to that. Whatever the case may be, I think all bids should be competitive, open, and transparent. One of the things, I used to be a journalist, and we said that lies hate light. Lies hate light. So anything
this question is Jacob Theo.
The short answer is, I think, yes. Right? Expenditures can't happen without competitive bidding. There has to be some realistic threshold, right? You don't want to spend hours and hours agonizing over $100 spent. Right? So if there's a approved contractor, whatever it may be, for within certain thresholds, and you had a agreed upon rate, you don't need to necessarily put that to a competitive bid. Right? But that threshold is what is important in determining when it makes sense to go out to bid and when it doesn't.
Thank you. And next on this question is Shiraz Akhenaten.
So I echo his answer that it depends on the circumstances and the threshold and what you're looking at. For certain things, like if you're whether it's a school district or at your home, you would get 3 bids to do something. That's just the business person in me. So I don't really know the specifics of this particular thing, and I don't want to second guess somebody in the past on what circumstances they had that made them do certain things that they did. So.
On this question is Noelia Forza.
I support transparency across the board. I think that opening up bids to be competitive is essential, and I also support union workers and opening up bids for union work so that the funds that come from our district are invested into our community at a local level.
Next on this question is Shara Martin.
I also support clear and transparent processes. I think it's important for all information to be on the table, accessible to all community members about the processes that we're going through as a school district. I also support engaging in processes and in bid processes with folks that are local to our community. So supporting organizations, supporting workers that live and work in our community, and so the extent to which we can continue to, again, as Noelia mentioned, kind of bring back to our community, I think is really important. So yes, I do.
Thank you. And next on this question is Thomas Morgan.
For the most part, it should be a competitive process above thresholds as previously discussed. But I think perhaps maybe more challenging problem is to actually make sure that the scope of projects are defined correctly, because you see that in meetings all the time where they didn't correctly define the scope and you have a change order and you end up paying more than you thought you were. So I'd be more concerned with that, and also to make sure that we don't too narrowly define the product or the scope so that it would only benefit or go to one contractor's. Because that, I don't think that's very good either. But overall, yes, open transparency is very important. Thank you.
And finally, Rebecca Hitchcock.
Yes, I think it all depends. I have worked at a place where we had to go out and get competitive bidding. I do believe that that's great for the public to be aware of what's happening and what the funds are going to be used for and what the scope of the project is. But I do think that it needs to happen in a timely manner. And to understand that the lowest bid doesn't mean we should have to take it. We need to look at the quality of work as well. That will be done.
And our next question is, as a prospective member of the board, can you prioritize now the groups you will be responsible for and accountable to? So can you specify and prioritize the groups you will be responsible for and accountable to as a prospective member of the school board? And for this one, we start with Rebecca Hitchcock.
I haven't finished writing my list. The first one are the children. The second one is the teachers. Those are first and foremost the most important, and I think often we lose sight of that when coming to procedures, and we can't lose focus on what's important, and that's the best quality education for children with quality teachers. Aside from that would be the community members. Everybody included in that, so city councils,
community members, parents, guardians, kind of all together. So it's children, teachers, and then everybody else. So only three. Thanks.
Next on this question is Thomas Morgan.
I also agree students should be our number one priority. Their education, preparing them for the jobs of the future is imperative. Second, I think I would go taxpayers because we often need to go to them and ask for money to help fund our teachers, and teachers would be three. I think it's very good that we keep a good relationship with the taxpayers, and we saw that the last parcel tax did not pass, and for whatever reason, probably not having a good or great relationship with the taxpayers, which ultimately help our teachers. Teachers are very important. They make our students smart. Thank you.
Next on this question is Noah Leah Corzo.
This is a really interesting question, and I agree. I would put children first. They are our future. They are the ones that will be caring for us as we get older in life, and we want to invest in them. And then, in terms of prioritizing people, I think that's really interesting, and I would hesitate to do so. I think that part of the disconnect and part of what has added to the struggles in our district is that we're not seeing each other as equal. I think both parents matter, people that don't have children matter, and I think that everyone really needs to understand each other's perspective and buy in to what's best for our community at large. Thank you.
And next on this question is Jacob Thiel.
Yeah, I'll take I like Maria's answer. But I'll take it from perspective of if you have to prioritize how we apply the budget and what we're going to focus on. Students first, parents second, teachers and staff, then principals, district administration, and then our
Thank you. Next is Shiraz Zachariah.
So yes, of course, we are responsible for the students, number one, their future, and we are accountable too. And this is, I think, we are accountable to the whole community, everyone in the community. And it's not just big parents of children, but also, in our community, I see, everybody who's here, people who don't have children are very passionate about our community too, and they need to hear about it. So I think that we are accountable to our community at large, our teachers, and to the administration and to our fellow board members also. So transparency is important in that when you are being accountable to everyone and communicating clearly and transparently with the community.
Next on this question is Alexander Mason.
I'm going to take a slightly different route than everybody else has. Everybody else says students first, all right? I'm going to put the priorities to your future doctors, your neighbors, your car mechanics, your lawyers, your dentists, anybody in your life who is important to you, anybody who you interact with was at one time a student. Okay? Was at one time a student. Somewhere. Maybe not in our district, but in some district, somewhere was a student. Imagine them as a student in our district. Wouldn't you want them to have had the best education possible?
Finally, on this question is Shara Watkins.
So my number one and only priority is our students and all of our students. I think that it's really important. The way that I think about it is that our students are our focus as a board. Outside and around our students, our communities, our parents, our teachers, all of you that are sitting in this room. And as a board, it's our responsibility to listen to the diverse perspectives that all of you bring and all of those stakeholders bring. But at the end of the day, our only priority and our only responsibility is to make decisions that are in the best interest of all of our students.
Thank you. We'll revisit the contract issue. How do you propose to move through the impasse on teacher contract negotiations in the current budget endorse a partial tax without a contract? How do you propose to move through the impasse on teacher contract negotiations in the current budget situation, knowing that SMETA will not endorse a partial tax without a contract? And for this one, we start with Shiraza.
Well, so I had already mentioned some aspect of this in my previous answer, that I do think that, but most of the discussions have been, closed door discussions. They are in mediation right now. So I really am not privy to all the numbers that they are discussing, but I definitely do feel that yes, to move ahead, if this has not worked out for 1 year, or however long it has been, everybody is, there is some amount of tension over there. I would definitely first work with them to come to a mutual agreement. That's what I do in my business, negotiations. If one number is not working, you can't just keep pushing that number ahead. And but again, I don't have all the information about what they are discussing, and I cannot just make a call at this time on what it will be, what I would propose. It depends on the whole board. It depends on the administration. It depends on what SMETA wants. So, thank you.
Next on this question is Alexander Hayslip.
Look, we have a remarkable resource with the OpenGov thing. I was poking around on that just recently, and it's just a treasure trove of data. And you can, if you have a computer and you're good with data, you can spend time poring over the charts and just spend time on it. I got a letter from the superintendent saying that there was stuff that could be done on OpenGov with it, and I looked, and it's just fascinating to go through that. I think that is a great source of communications for us going forward, and I hope to see more of our communications coming through that type of data-driven communication. I think that's a very valuable resource for us.
Next on this question is Rebecca Hitchcock.
I'm also not fully familiar with all the contract details as they are in closed sessions, but obviously whatever's been offered is not agreeable and acceptable. I would love to be able to work with those negotiations and find a solution that works. It's also not all about the money, as I said earlier, and I don't know if that can be put in a contract, but perhaps it comes down to letting the teachers decide what curriculum program they want to use and implement in their class. There's other ways to, I think, make teachers happy, coming from anyone, that there's other things you can bring to the table and offer to create a positive work environment and school climate, and I would love to get there.
Next on this question is Sharon Watkins.
It's a complicated issue, and I think as some folks have mentioned, there's limited information or there's some information that as community members, us as well as school board candidates, don't have access to. Absolutely, I think it's important that our teachers are working with a contract that is agreeable to them. I absolutely think that our current board is really working and district leaders are working to ensure that that is happening in as timely a manner as possible. I think my commitment, I'm not going to say that if I were to be on the board, that all of a sudden these are the things that I'm going to do, or the type of contract that I'd be pushing for. But what I am committed to doing is to working with and listening to our educators about what they want. I have met with our teachers union president and other educators, and I'm committed to continuing to do that. As a former educator, and as I've already mentioned, teachers are our most valuable asset, so we need to ensure that we're providing them with the most support that we possibly can as a district.
Next on this question is Thomas Morgan.
It's very hard to answer when we obviously all don't have the facts. I guess I would just look back at what other municipalities are passing and kind of think of that as a baseline, and then once, if elected, get into the negotiation process, listen to the teachers, and we don't know what they're wanting or if it's just money or if it's something else. And because there's also talk that the workplace is kind of tough, so it's a workplace issue, then maybe that doesn't cost money, and maybe we can find a compromise and make the workplace better. But overall, I think we need to find a peaceful solution and really get past the difficult negotiation and get the focus back on our students, because every day this goes on, it's one more day that our teachers are not focused on our students.
Next on this question is Jacob Theo.
As everyone said, limited information, right? I think it really depends on how close things are, right? If it's fairly close, it might just be time to move on, because when this contract is negotiated, guess what? It's time to start looking at negotiation for the next round. And that's when the battle's going to be fought, if that's what it takes, right? But you can really start from the ground up and look at it holistically, understand the needs, come together, rebuild that trust between the teachers and the district, and use the time there, but get something moving on. If it's further away, then maybe it's time to look at those broader options.
And finally, Noelia Corzo.
So I'll repeat what everyone said already. We have very limited information, and I think it's important to do research. So let's look at the past contract. Let's look at the information that our teachers union has published for the community to read. They do make their stand very clear, and there is information out there available to everyone. And I also think that, as some others have said, we need to look at other areas where our teachers could get some support, specifically maybe around benefits and how our teachers who have families are burdened differently than our teachers who don't have dependents, and also things like planning time, and overall just really I commit to understanding what the situation is right now and trying to figure it out collaboratively. Thank you.
All right, our next question. Will you please address the overcrowding issue in our school district? How will you address this issue? Will you please address the overcrowding issue in our school district? How will you address this issue? And on this question, we start with Sharon Watkins.
Overcrowding is a challenge in our district, and it is definitely a challenge in Foster City, as I know there's some Foster City residents that are here. I think it's something that our district is taking steps to address currently. There will be a 4th elementary school opening in Foster City, as well as a small school opening in the North Central area on the College Park campus over the next couple of years. And so I think that those are some steps that are being taken to address. There are schools that are overcrowded, and there are schools that actually have a little bit of space at this time. And so I think right now the district has also recently presented at a board meeting around some recent projections for enrollment. So thinking about things kind of being not flatline, but increasing kind of slowly over the next couple of years, and then in 3 to 4 years kind of taking a nice sharp upturn again. And so it will be something that the current board will need to think about creative solutions and how to address. I don't have the answer, with the exception of kind of the things that are on the table right now and will be happening, but committed to listening and troubleshooting.
Next on this question on overcrowding is Noelia Corzo.
So I think the issue of overcrowding means different things to different parts of our district. So in terms of Foster City, I mean, there are schools that have around 800 students, and if you ask a parent from a San Mateo school what their version of overcrowding is, they might say that it's 450, right? So I think that those realities are important to consider. And in terms of addressing that, it's really it's difficult to address. It's an issue that is basically affecting everyone almost everywhere. We have more children coming to our communities, and we need to make room for them in our schools. And so we do have the 2 schools that will be opening in the next several years, and I think that those are opportunities to tackle this issue. But also, I think we can get a little creative about how we are shifting students to different schools. Thank you.
Next with this question is Thomas Morgan.
I agree with we have options on the table already, and I'm guess going forward, we really need to make sure we effectively make our capital budgets and really only pursue projects that don't go. I've heard some people say that, you know, because you want something in one area, you have to go put something somewhere else, and it's just, you know, I think we should all make the case intelligently that, you know, a school or something is needed here, and we should all as a board hopefully get behind it and do the public outreach, hear the community's concerns, and find ways to address those and mitigate those, because I know there are a lot of unpopular decisions initially, but then like using planning developments, for example, they, you know, the first meeting is usually very rough, and there's a lot of comments where seems like a lot of angry people, but generally by the end of, you know, several meetings, that they revise the project or proposal, and it's amenable to the public.
Next on this question is Shiraz.
So, our school board had projected for this year 11,900, and I think they are within that range. They have seats for all students. So, as it was mentioned before, that they see that for some time we are good. It's only in 2020 that we will see a jump in the student population again. So, as was mentioned before, we have the Charter Square, Foster City, the elementary school, and then in the future, but there is a site in North Central where we could have another school. And yes, there is a school overpopulation problem, but Bowditch has 1,025 students. But again, this is something that, you know, after the Charter Square issue, we need to talk to the whole community and not just Foster City, but San Mateo in moving forward. What do we do? You know, Bowditch is still the same old building. What do we do moving forward? So again, this is the same thing about communication, involving the community and listening to the community, and we work together for all the solutions moving forward.
And next on this question is Alexander Hayslip.
I'm acutely aware of the overcrowding in Foster City, at least. The 4th Elementary School is going to take care of a big piece of that when it gets built. Hopefully, when that happens, I think that hopefully that'll relieve some of that tension. But we need to address that systemically, because once the python swallows that egg, it's gonna there'll be that it'll go through the digestive process, and then we have to anticipate that there'll be other eggs coming later, right? And so it won't be just a one-time thing.
Thank you. And next on this question is Rebecca Hitchcock.
Thank you. A school will be built in each city, which will provide some relief, but not a lot. And it's also not this graph of children coming into the district needs to be continued to look at for long-term planning, and that we need to work with the community and have their input about what they think, what should be done. Do we build other schools, and where so? We need to partner with the cities and look ahead and continue to always keep that in our minds, and always in terms of budget and how we are going to try and get funds for that. But it is going to be a hot topic because people be having babies. So, you know, just building new schools are not going to be the only answer. We do need to get creative and talk to the community. They're a great resource. Thank you.
Finally, on this question, Jacob Thiel.
I think the new schools will obviously help. Looking longer out, I definitely understand the projections and what the cities are saying. One thing I've definitely seen is neighborhoods are turning over, right? A lot of these houses were built in the 50s, and the original owners had them, now they're being turned over. There's 16 kids on my little block, right? And 10 years ago there was 2. And so this is a trend that's going to continue. So new schools may be in the future. And it'll be tough to pass, more money, more bonds, because we just had the one for these schools, right? So I think beyond just the new schools, the other areas, what does overcrowding mean? All right, is it a lack of facility, lack of space, lack of student-teacher ratio, right? That getting out of hand. And there's different creative solutions that either come into play with all of us, right? It's just about the school getting bigger, but we have the teachers and support staff to help. Maybe shifting schedules can help. Maybe adding support staff to break up the teacher's day, to break down the ratio. Every solution, every problem will have a different set of solutions that will need to be considered.
Great. Our next question, we have time for maybe two more questions. How can we better support parents to help them help their children? How will you better support parents to help them help their children? And on this, we'll start with Jake Field.
I think this is one of the most critical issues, right? The parents are the single success factor for the students, right? The schools play a huge part, the parents play the most important part. And the more we depend on the parents, the more we ask of the parents, things like the achievement gap will continue to persist. We really need to step up how the district supports parents. One is certainly looking at the schedule, right? How we have the schedule in terms of time off. We've had this 2-week break. It's harder to get childcare during that time. And the daily schedule, looking at the hours of work, right? So if you have a 9-to-5 job but have to pick up your kid at 3, how does that really work? So maybe looking at after-school programs as a default and letting parents opt out when it's time if they can support the students after school. We're really planning for that situation where parents are working and don't have the time to spend.
Thank you. And next on this question is Shiraz.
So, parent support. This is more, I think, all parents need support, of course. And I was a mother of 3. I just thought, oh my God, it was when they were all young. It was overwhelming at certain times. But this question, I think, I will answer with regards to our underserved community, the people who are working 2 jobs, and many of them face homelessness. And this is, in East Palo Alto, Ravenswood School District, what they had to do, and Mark Zuckerberg's foundation is covering that, is they had to put washing machines in the schools. They also had to do with Second Harvest Food Bank. Once a month, these families go there, and they go and get their 1 cart full of groceries. So, we don't realize the level of homelessness and the level of issues that are going on even in our communities. In Ravenswood, they have a bus because they don't know where the kid will be. Sometimes they may have slept in San Mateo, so they come and they pick up the kid if they want to go there. So when we talk about parent support, we have to look at that issue. My time is up, but I have a lot to speak on this issue.
And next on this question is Alexander Hayslip.
First, we need to revisit this schedule thing. You mentioned we just came off the 2-week break thing. Nowhere else is there a 2-week fall break. Now, if you are lucky, a 2-week fall break is a chance for an enrichment opportunity for your child. If you are unlucky, it is a 2-week opportunity for your child to show you all the ways he can drive you crazy. We were one of those camps. I'll let you guess which one. My answer is informed by my recent experience. I think parent support we need more work on that. I think standardization and getting in step with what everyone else is doing in the rest of the world is a good first step.
Next on this question is Rebecca Hitchcock. Sure. How can we, or you as a potential board member, support parents to help them help their children?
Thank you. I think that is a great question. Schools and parents and guardians should be partners as they all have the same goal, and that's the best interest and quality education for their child. And with each school, parent-guardian population is going to have different needs and schedules, and therefore each school will have different solutions, but various communications. So whether it's email updates, not just the Thursday folders for elementary school, but perhaps it's Monday notes from the teacher, different times for them to come for workshops, parent workshops. And again, various times, because some parents work nights, some parents work day. For instance, the kindergarten and transitional informational meeting is one day, but it's 3 separate times. You've got morning class, at lunchtime, lunch hour time, and evening. I think that's that's fantastic because you're trying to meet the needs of the various parent guardian community. So we need to continue that and provide more ways to have workshops and whatnot things.
Next on this question is Noelle Forza.
As a parent myself, I know what has worked for me. I know that the Boys and Girls Club in North Shoreview is absolutely essential for my family and my son. I think that our district needs to continue to partner with these nonprofit organizations that provide children with excellent care and also parents with the ability to have somewhere safe for their children to be while they are at work. I know that this is happening already. Our Ed Fund is working with the Boys and Girls Club, and I think some other spaces that are a huge opportunity are, like I mentioned earlier, our English language advisory committees. These are committees that are mandated by the state to be in every school, and I think that it varies, like how much attention each school is paying to these committees and how they're actually working, and I think that this is something that our district needs to prioritize, and I've actually already sat down with district staff to talk about this.
And next on this question is Shara Watkins.
I think first and foremost, it's asking parents the areas where they feel like they need to be supported more. I think it's not requiring that parents have a certain level of support in order to ensure that their students are successful. And I think that it's also really ensuring that spaces that we already have created for parents to be involved are welcoming and open spaces for all parents. So we have structures in place, PTA Council that's putting this on tonight, as well as the school-based PTAs. We have community organizations that are supporting and engaging in outreach to parents and students that need additional support. And then in terms of listening to parents, I've heard lots of things, but I think the schedule is one of them. And I think there are some quick fixes in terms of how we communicate when there's an emergency, if people are at work and the home phone number isn't the best number, how do we send things like text messages? So again, I think reaching out to the parent community about what you want and what's going to be most effective for you in supporting your kids.
Finally, Thomas Morgan.
I think families are very different and they have different needs, so trying to get feedback and information from the parents is key. I think we do a pretty good job. I felt like last year, perhaps maybe the most were the weekly voicemails, but maybe having those more often because they're only once a week. And then really just, continuing to ask questions and have multiple forms of communication. So we're constantly getting information and understand. Something I heard somebody comment about was coordinating better with the high school district, because now we have some families who have in both districts, and they were particularly annoyed because their vacations are at different times. So maybe we can work with families to coordinate those schedules better. So the days off, they don't have to take double the child care off or time from work, or find ways to meet their child care needs.
Thank you. And so that we can adjourn on time, we're going to have to move on to our closing statements. And gosh, I had so many more questions I wanted to ask, because thank you, audience, for your great questions. They were really good. While the candidates are getting themselves together for their closing statements, I also wanted to mention that you can find additional information about the candidates on the League's Smart Voter website. That's votersedge.org. All the candidates have been invited to enter their information and to link to their own websites. The closing statements will go in opposite to the opening statements, and we will start with Shara Watkins. Yes.
So as I opened, I've dedicated my professional career to students and families in my local communities. I bring a unique perspective as a former educator and as someone that has spent my entire professional career both in the classroom, boots on the ground in the classroom, and also supporting teachers currently. I think that those perspectives will inform the way that I approach decision making. My commitment is to always keeping all of our students at the center of every decision that I make. I think that I have my own opinions and my own beliefs given my experience in education, but I also am committed to listening and learning from all of you on a continual basis around your priorities for our schools, your priorities for our kids, and incorporating all of those perspectives and all of those voices into decision making. Again, always ensuring that our students are front and center.
Thank you. And next on the closing statement is Leah Corzo.
I decided to run because I care about children. I love children. I am very passionate about education. It has been pivotal in the way that my life has turned out. I was a student in this district. I was an English learner from a low socioeconomic status family, and I was able to thrive because of the amazing teachers that I have and because of the programs that this district prioritized. And I want that for all of our students. And I think I'm an amazing example of what is possible when we really care about all of our children. And I want to be a part of making sure that happens for all of our students. I'm also someone that is very dedicated to leading collaboratively and to talking to any and everyone that has something to say about our students in our district. I welcome feedback. I value our teachers, I value our district, and I recognize the importance of communication and transparency. And I also have a huge commitment to volunteering and to really doing things for the benefit of our community at large. And I have experience working with some of the most at-risk populations in our community, and I bring those perspectives to the table. But I also recognize that there's a lot of different perspectives, and some of our gifted students also need support and also need things to be put in place to really help them thrive. And I am just very grateful to have this opportunity to be a candidate for this board, and I really hope that folks recognize my work ethic and my passion for this, and invest in our community by voting for me. Thank you.
Next for our closing statement is Alexander Hayslip.
I'd like to thank the audience today because you've had to endure my words at least for 1/6, 1/7, one part of this debate. And that's an important part because this is participatory democracy, what we're doing right here, right now. This is why we founded the country. I don't want to get too high and mighty on it, but this is what I believe in. This is what we believe in as a people, as a country. I hear people laughing over there, so I got thumbs up, so I'm going to go one step further on it then. This is why we need to be in America. This is why America is a good place. We're in the process of making America great. America is great, people. We don't need our president screwing up, helping us to appreciate all the ways that our country doesn't do things right. This is what makes us great. We're in the process of helping our children, our future, grasp this shining future, this shining beacon on a hill. I want to create Silicon Valley once again as the place, the pinnacle that people can come to and look at and see as where the future happens. This is where Silicon Valley is. This is why I came to this country, or why I came to this area. I'm from Virginia. That was where our democracy was originally created. This is where our forefathers envisioned our country. And I'm sorry, I hear a beeping noise. Does that mean I'm supposed to stop talking? All right, I'll keep going for a little while longer if that's okay. All right. Okay, now I'm supposed to talk. I've said my piece. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the beeping's coming from.
thank all of you for coming here and for all the questions that you sent in. You all obviously care a lot about all these issues, so thank you. And I'll just repeat what I said in my opening statement, that my life is about community service, about giving back. And one of the things that in volunteering I couldn't say, because I think do a lot of volunteering, is I'm on the board of Friends of the Library, and because I care so much about education, I'm the president of the board of education for in India, where we educate in over 400 villages. So education and children, it's not just education, but as I said before, all-round development of a child. Because really, we have to think about the emotional side, the stress that we put, what stress our children face. So for me, that all-round development of a child is very important. And then the other aspect is that we have to also consider all the children, right, in our school district. We have heard during this process that I have gone and met so many people, special needs families, right, their concerns, the gifted children, who are sometimes, are they challenged enough in the curriculum? So when we talk about equity in our schools, we have to look at the talent also of where we are serving, and I know we have some amazing programs in our school district, and it's just that making sure that we are committed to that and making sure that we are following through that. And lastly, I am again very open, very approachable. Anytime you can say, I've already been getting emails from people, I want to do that, lead by listening to the community, because we sit here representing the community. And one of the best things I have actually liked about this process is when I go door knocking and I listen to people, and I have learned quite a few things, different viewpoints, and hopefully if elected, I would like to continue to lead with that, listening to all the different feedback from everyone, and then accordingly moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next closing statement will be Jacob Thiel.
Thank you all once again. I do think I bring a unique perspective as a father, management consultant, and a public school graduate. Right? My experience going through school all the way from elementary through graduate school certainly shaped my perspective on it. In my work, I do a lot of process improvement, strategy, design, implementations, training, contract negotiations. These are all things that the board is involved in helping and guide the district on all things that become relevant to the decisions that we need to make. I also want to hear from the community, and I think it needs to happen in a formal way. And our teachers need to have a voice at the table. Our principals also need to have a voice at the table in key decisions. And the community. The board meetings are great. They don't have a chance to chime in. People have to come up and get their 3 minutes, and no one gets to respond. It's all one-sided, directed. We listen and no respond. I'd like to explore ways that we can hear directly from this community and not have to just depend on individual outreach of the board members to come through. I'd also like to see make sure we have roles within the district that focus on marketing and communications, right? Getting the word out there about our programs, helping the parents understand more about what's available, what's upcoming, and push to them and talk to them in a way they want to receive messages, whether it's text messages, email, or otherwise. Have teachers provide status updates. They don't have to depend on their kids saying, yeah, I had a great day, and not really know what's going on. And just overall explore different options on every approach we take, right? Looking at the pros and cons of those options and understanding what the district recommends, and then acting upon that. Again, I think I appreciate your time and support, and hope that you will.
Our next closing statement is Thomas Morgan.
Hi, I would just like to take a moment. In the past couple of weeks I'd like to take a moment to remember and think about the victims in the Napa and Sonoma County fires. And one event that I found out when I went to the education summit was the Bay Area Science Festival will be putting on an event up there sometime in the future. I don't know when, but if we follow their thing, they're free events for the public, and I think it'd be a great way for us to show support for that community as they come back to a normal life. And I want to again thank the League of Women Voters and the PTA Council for hosting tonight's events. I want to thank all of you for being here and sitting through the whole meeting. Been going to some board meetings since this past spring, and usually this room is very empty, so it's very good to see it. It's still full. I think our district has a lot to be proud of. It's all 12,000 students, its teachers, its administrators, the community, and of course none of us would be here without the parents. We should also be proud that we offer a variety of programs and school choice to our students. I think we have good schools now, but financial challenges on the horizon are going to make it difficult to keep them good if we don't act. We obviously have cost of living increases and increased pension payments for the next few years that, it's going to compete directly with how we want to compensate our teachers and ultimately could affect the experience our children have in the classroom. And I just want to, in closing, ask that we kind of unite as one school district and put past tensions behind us as we're having a new board. Because, if there's disagreements, it's not going to punish the board and the teachers. It's going to punish our students, and I just don't think that's fair. And I ask that we move forward and create a more perfect school district, and that we prepare our students for all the jobs of tomorrow, so that our region and our country continue to be the leader in all fields of study. Thank you.
And finally, Rebecca.
Thank you. I appreciate you all taking the time to be here and bearing with me while I answer the questions to the best of my ability. I'm clearly not a public speaker, and that's because I'm not a talker, I'm a doer. If elected, I will not lose focus on the important task of fighting for what's right. Our children, what's in their best interest, quality education with quality educators who are supported and valued. We need to come together and think outside the box and get creative to achieve this. There are big picture items that need to be addressed, like the budget and getting community involvement and partnerships with local agencies, which will take some time. But there are also more immediate things we can do now to help solve some issues. And that's, we need to start creating a positive school climate, not only for our children, but for the teachers as well. And we need to start doing the reaching out with other schools in the district and outside of the district, and work with the County Office of Education for ideas on how to continue and maintain them. I look forward to reaching out and implementing such things. And I'm going to echo what I said earlier, because I strongly believe this, that it takes a community, our community. We are in this together, we're partners, and it's time to work together to get the children, our future, the quality education they deserve. And I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization, and membership is open to both men and women of voting age. If you are interested in helping your community with forums such as this, brochures are available out in the lobby with information about joining the League. Remember to vote on Tuesday, November 7th, and encourage your friends and neighbors to do so as well. I don't think I've ever worked a forum where we've not had an incumbent that's been all running, and it's very exciting to see that, and it's hard to put yourself out there. So, audience, please join me in thanking all.